everybody, welcome to Dak Band Productions and welcome to Conahee Rail. So this video today will focus on my thoughts about the Lionel catalog. Now I'm not going to go through the whole entire catalog and review it. I left that up to other YouTube channels to do that. However, I did get quite a few emails and private messages and comments and videos and other live streams about what did I think about the Lionel catalog, the Volume 2 2024 catalog. So there was a lot of buzz about this catalog, a lot of talk about it, especially when it comes to the pricing of some of the items. So what I wanted to do with this video is go ahead and talk about it and highlight a few different things. We'll talk a little bit about the prices. So there are Dak Band Production viewers out there who consider me an ambassador to the hobby. I mean, I don't consider myself in that role, but others do. So I always try to be fair and weigh things out and point different things out and so forth and so on. However, if there is a product that has a problem, I will call it out, and then hopefully I have a solution to the problem. I thought I would not have seen anything Conrail in this catalog, but Lionel has surprised me again. So with the Conrail theme in mind, I believe it's on page number 2 of the Lionel Volume 2 2024 catalog, is the Conrail Line GG1. And there's a lot of cool features to that, but I noticed a lot of pushback on the pricing of $1,700. And I'm sure that's people have to keep in mind when they see the pricing in the book, that's just a retail price. I'm sure that's going to probably be like $1,500, $1,600 through the dealer. And even still, it's a little expensive. And it's also a scaled piece. So let's talk about that a little bit here. So my thoughts on that, it's a beautiful looking locomotive. I definitely like the fact that it has the arc lighting effect and the pantographs. The pantographs move up and down as you change directions. There's a lot of cool features to this thing that I think is pretty impressive. Is it worth $1,500? Well, I say that's up to the buyer, to the people out there. There are some people who will say, no, I will not spend that kind of money on a GG1, and then there's people like, yeah, it's no big deal. On one hand, there's a couple of people who made good points, is that you could go out and buy a scale-sized Williams GG1 and then put ERR TMC Sounds and Lionel Rail Sounds 5 sound card in it, and you'll be well below the $1,500 range. And all that would be true. You just wouldn't have the you wouldn't have the motorized pantographs and the arc lighting effect. And some people wouldn't care about that. I don't know if Lionel could have done this or not, but maybe they could have offered a GG1 in Lion Chief and cut the cost on it some. Maybe that could have been an option for people who said, the Vision line is out of my price line. I really want a scale-sized GG1. Is there any way you can bring the price point down? Maybe offering a couple of them in the Lion Chief may have. I don't know. I'm not into the Lionel marketing. I don't know the cost of the Lion Chief 2.0 stuff. How much cheaper it would have been if the factory would allow that, to say, yeah, we'll make so many in the Vision line and so many in the Lion Chief 2.0. It would have been nice for to cover both price points, I believe, if they had went ahead and offered a Lion Chief. And who knows, maybe it would have been much cheaper, and where people would have been comfortable buying it, even if it didn't have the arc lighting, or maybe ditch the motorized pantographs and just have where you put them up manually and you just have crew talk and stuff like that. The irresponsible part of me says, yeah, I want it. And I'm looking at it, it's like, wow, the more I look at it, the more I want it. But the responsible part of me says, well, you know, that's a mortgage payment, right? So am I going to pay my mortgage, or am I going to pay for a GG1? And then all of a sudden, Mr. Muffins drops a bombshell and announces he's coming out with a custom run Conrail Vision line and the Bicentennial. So now I have the Conrail GG1 in blue and a Conrail GG1 Bicentennial. Do I buy one? Do I buy both? Do I not buy any? And speaking of pricing, I've seen the Lionel Vision line Conrail Bicentennial sell for anywhere from $2,000 to almost $4,000. So yes, the Lionel Conrail GG1 Bicentennial locomotive was previously run in the 2016 Lionel Signature catalog. Now, there are those out there who have concerns about boards and parts availability. I will tell you that that's just not a Lionel problem. Computer boards, chips in general are still an issue to get a hold of, even in the world of car parts and truck parts. Like, in my world, I work in trucking. Everybody knows that by now. I'm a diesel mechanic, and trucks are almost as bad as cars with all these computers. And most of the parts that are related to emissions and other components have smart chips in them, such as NOx sensors. And all these problems stemmed right after the shutdown. We can't say the C word on YouTube because they have a problem with that. But during the shutdown, after the shutdown, there's still board and chip issues out there. So that's just not a Lionel problem. I'll give you an example. I waited 8 months for a window switch for one of our trucks. It was on that much of a backlog. NOx sensors, they were a 6-month wait. In the meantime, with the NOx sensors, the truck's down because it can't run without it. It'll throw check engine light and it'll make it go into, make it so you can't run it anymore. The next thing I'm going to say about stuff with boards in it may upset some people, but just hear me out. Because I know people are going to get twisted up about what I'm about to say. So you have to keep in mind, anytime you buy something that's electronic, it's a consumable. And I know that's not a way to think about it, but and for those who don't know what a consumable is, that's something that you use and you throw it away, and that's the end of it. That's a consumable. Examples of consumables with electronics would be like a TV. So when a TV gets 10 years old and it goes out, you're not going to call up Sony and say, all right, I need a board for my TV. And they'll say, sorry, we don't have any parts for your TV. You have to buy a new one. And I know people aren't going to agree with my comparison like that, but unfortunately that's how I look at it. This hobby, when you're buying locomotives with boards in them, it's a consumable. Now, if a model is only 6 months old and there's no parts, alright, I get why people would be upset, but it's happened in the world of trucking too, where you buy a new truck, it's only 6 months old, and you can't get a part to fix it. It has happened. Now, one other thing I'm looking at getting, believe it or not, is the Cargill S1 switcher. I heard a couple of people say, you know, oh, it's expensive for a small little switcher. You know, I don't think it's a bad price. And again, it's all in the individual of what their budget is and what their spending is. Can you get one cheaper? Absolutely. I mean, you can go and find an old K-Line MP15 switcher dirt cheap out there. But I have a Cargill facility on my layout, and I definitely am thinking about getting that switcher. I think it would be cool to have. So I want to do a little bit of price comparison here. And I know it's a little bit apples to oranges, but hear me out on this one. So you guys know by now, I am not only just O gauge, but I've actually started an HO layout last year. So I've seen the HO guys complain about pricing. I'm like, guys, you have no idea what we're going through on O gauge. But at any rate, so HO stands for half O. So if Lionel is in the correct ballpark, HO should be half the price of what Lionel is. So I'm noticing that, for example, Lionel scale cars, such as the covered hoppers, are pushing $100. However, if you go into the world of HO, which is half O, alright, if you look at the upper end of the manufacturers like Tangent, Scale Trains, Athearn Genesis, Otter Valley Railroad, those cars are going for on the average of $52. So the B60 baggage cars in the catalog are retailing for $300, probably sell for $250. For a standard baggage car, yeah, that's a little bit on the pricey side. I have to agree with people. And then you get into the other baggage, B60 baggage cars, the Vision ones are going for retail $500 that feature legacy control and plays a dialogue when stopped or in motion. It has 3 different stop sequences, along with interior and marker lights. Now, to me, for $500, I'd rather put that towards a diesel legacy locomotive. I noticed that Lionel brought back the legacy SD70 ACE. Always a favorite locomotive of mine. I've seen reviews from YouTube channels wondering if the Ferromex is going to feature crew talk in Spanish. It doesn't say whether it does or doesn't in the catalog. Lionel also announced the SD40-2 locomotives. They're showing a retail price of $650. Now, if you go into the HO scale world, so a Scale Trains SD40-2 with sounds and DCC, you're looking at spending $300. Again, half the price of O gauge. So yeah, Lionel's right there in line. So the prices we're seeing is just not a Lionel issue. It's an issue in the whole model railroading community in general, no matter what gauge you're in. HO and all of them prices are coming up. I'm also wondering if Lionel will do more with the Weaver molds. I know people probably wonder that themselves. The Lion scale was originally the old Weaver mold lineup. I don't know if Lionel is using the Lion scale name anymore, but when they first originally bought the Weaver molds, they came out with hopper cars, and they were boxed and labeled as Lion scale. Everybody's got their own budget. Everybody's got their own thing that they like and what they can afford and can't afford. There are alternatives out there of things that you can do on your own. Yes. So what are my final thoughts? I know people are asking, are you going to get the Lionel GG1? I also have to face reality. You know, I can only afford so much. And, you know, YouTube only pays so much, and for the amount of money that they're going for, I can buy 2 Lionel Legacy diesel locomotives. If I had the funds, or I knew I could save that kind of money, yeah, I would definitely get them. But at this point in time, I just don't see them coming to Conahay Rail. Just like with the Lionel Conrail T1. I wanted that piece in a reversed way, along with the auxiliary tender. But for the amount of money that it went for, I just could not afford it or put it into my budget. I have to buy stuff that's in my budget. Again, everybody's got their own budget of what they can afford and can't afford, and we have to stay within that budget to, you know, keep going in life. So some prices I find in a catalog are, you know, more than reasonable, and then some prices that may be a little bit on the high side. But don't worry, I do have a couple other Lionel Conrail things showing up. So I did pre-order the Lionel Conrail GP9 and the B unit. I'm still up in the air about the U28C. So at this point in time, personally, the only thing that I'm seeing in this catalog that I'll probably go after isn't even Conrail. It's Cargill. And I know people will be shocked. Cargill? You mean to tell me Dak Man's not buying a Conrail piece for the first time? And yeah, it'll be a Cargill locomotive instead. So I'm definitely going to go after that one for sure. I'd like to thank you guys for the questions and sending me emails and direct messages asking about my thoughts. I said I might as well just put this all on video to answer everybody all at the same time. I wasn't even going to make a Lionel catalog video at all, but since so many people were asking, I went ahead and did it anyway. In the meantime, keep it blue, and we'll catch you guys trackside or at the next train show. Goodbye.